All right, guys, we are going to cover a couple different new things on Excel. So a basic thing you guys, you probably have used before, maybe not in Excel, but maybe on Word or on PowerPoint, but you maybe weren't familiar with the name or terminology, is a header and footer. Okay, so first thing I always do when I read a question on a test is figure out where do I need to go? Which tab is it going to be on? Okay, so anytime I'm putting something into the document, whether it's a picture, video, header, or footer, that's usually the Insert tab, right? Because I'm inserting something. So I'm going to click on this Insert tab, and then I go through and look at each of the different groups, right? And so header and footer is a type of text, right? And so right here I see text, I have header and footer. When I click on that, it's going to insert a header and footer. Okay, so this can be used for when I print off things, right? Maybe I want it to know the name of the document. So maybe for Target, for instance, I might say shortage report, right? Because that was asset protection, so we kept track of shortage. And then maybe I want to put the date in there. So I can either manually type the date, or if I want to be smart, I'll use one of these buttons on the ribbon, right, where I do current date. So it'll always put the current date when I print this out. Okay, so those are some kind of tools that we have. And then when I want to exit it, I can just click out and it automatically exits, right? And then now if I click up here, it automatically opens it back up. Okay, so that's a header and footer. Next thing I want to cover is saving. Okay, so there's a couple different things that we need to pay attention to. When I'm saving a document, I want to be the one that's in charge of the computer, right? The computer's not in charge of me. I'm in charge of the computer. So I go to File and Save As. Okay, a lot of you will click just save, and the reason that doesn't work very well is the computer just saving it wherever it thinks it should go, right? So sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it doesn't. I prefer to be the one in charge, so I'm going to click the Save As. Okay, and then that allows me to go to Browse, and I can go and find where I want to save it, right? So you guys should be able to go to your student drive and then your boss folder and then Excel, because we're in Excel. Okay, and then you can change the name right here. And then you can also change the type if you need to change the file type. Okay, so and then once you hit save, it's going to create that copy for you. And then from now on, you can just click normal save or here, and it's just updating that save. Okay, so first time you save a document, you want to click Save As, right? File, Save As. Every time after that, you can just click Save unless you're trying to create another copy. Okay. We'll also go over the View tab, right? So View tab has a lot of different options. We can change the different views, right? Depending on what we're looking for. So normally you guys are used to just this normal view, right? Page layout is also a really good one because you can see when you print what it's going to print like. Okay, let's go back to normal. That's also on the bottom right. I have normal, page layout, page break, and then also the zoom, right? So I can actually use that zoom button as I want. Okay, I also want to show you, so there's, as far as copy and pasting goes, you guys are used to just a normal copy and paste, right? So like, hey, right, if I want to copy that, I can right click, click copy, or I can do Control C, that'll copy it as well. When you're getting ready to copy something, it'll always do the dotted line that moves, okay, in Excel. And then Control V is paste, or right click and paste. Now, when I right click, it gives me a lot of different options, okay? So the big ones are just normal paste, right? You can also just paste values, and you can also paste formulas, okay? So we'll cover that later when we talk about formulas, but you have a couple different options when you right click, okay? So I just normal pasted. Another thing we're going to cover is inserting a column, okay? Now, if I want to insert a column, there's a couple different things I can do. If I go to the Home tab and the Insert under the Cells group, right, I can insert cells, insert rows, insert columns, right? I personally prefer the right-click method. So if I click on B, if I want to insert a column, I can right-click on B, and I can click Insert. It's going to just insert another cell. Okay, now it normally inserts it to the right, right? So for instance, so if I wanted to insert something in between how R, right, I'd want to right click on the B and click insert because it inserts, oh, just kidding, inserts to the left. My bad. But yeah, inserts to the left, okay? So that's something to pay attention to. And then if I want to move columns, you can right click and you can actually click the move button somewhere. I think it's over here. Okay, and then if I want to delete it, I right click on the letter and then click delete. Okay, and then same thing with rows. I right click on the number and I can click insert, and it's going to insert below, it looks like. Okay, so that's how you insert and column and rows. Okay, and then same thing if I want to delete, I'd right click on where I want to delete. I can just click delete and it deletes everything on that, right? If I want to just delete something in one cell, I got to click in that cell, right click, and then I can delete it. And then I can either shift cells left, up, down, right. I can choose that. Okay. Last thing we're going to cover in this video is the currency tabs. Okay, so if we go to the number group in the home tab, right, we have home tab, go to the number group, and I have all these different options. Okay, so let's say I have all these different numbers, right? So whatever numbers, right? So let's say I know that these numbers represent dollars and I want to just put dollars in front of all of them. Instead of double clicking in there and putting a dollar sign, right, which I could manually do, it still didn't even, right, I'd have to do a dollar sign and then I have to go to the end and put a period and 00. And I don't want to do that for each one. Okay, automatically change it to currency if you notice, but Control Z will undo whatever you just did, right, or the back button. Okay, so right now you can see up here it says general, right? So let's say I know that all these numbers are going to be currency. So I highlight the adjacent cells that I want, or the cell range that I want to be currency. Go over here and I can actually change it to currency. So now every number I type is going to automatically turn into, right, into currency. And I can do that with a couple different things, right? I can change it into accounting and change it into numbers. I can change it into fractions, percentage, time, etc. Okay. And then the other thing I can do, let's say I want it to round up to the nearest dollar, right? So I'm going to highlight the cells I want to apply it to. And then over under the number group, I have the increased decimal and decreased decimal. Okay. So if I want to decrease decimal, right, decrease. So now it'll always round up. So if I have a value of 122 and 75 cents, automatically rounds up because of the decimal. Okay, so that's it for this video. You can stop sleeping.